Hello folks, as a general rule, I've tended to avoid covering World of Warcraft promotions, with the exception of Twitch drops and sub offers, as while I don't personally have any strong opinions about the cash shop and the like, given that World of Warcraft is both a full price game and a subscription game, I don't really want to give them free publicity either. But this week is a slow news week, and I've seen some comments in the community about the noticeable uptick in the number of promotions we've seen of late, especially region locked ones. And I've kind of been feeling a little bit of discontent about it myself. As someone who more broadly has an interest in consumer and customer rights, I feel like it may be a good time to ask if the feeling that Blizzard are stepping up the volume of promotions and cash shop activities is in fact well founded. And are Blizzard starting to cross a bit of a line and becoming a little bit more consumer hostile in their approach? Before I go any further, I do think it's important to acknowledge that promotional and other business decisions like this are, at least in massive corporations like Microsoft and Blizzard, very much not in the control of the developers. The biggest trigger for these discussions has been a series of US-only promotions in recent weeks. First, there was the Mountain Dew Blaze Cycle, and now a Crown Transmog that's only available through Discord. While there are ways around the region locks, for example, it's been great to see the folks in the US helping those of us outside to get the Blaze Cycle, region locked offers are, in my opinion, blatantly anti-consumer. There are good reasons for geo-locking, of course. Laws differ from country to country and can make a global promotion a bit of an organisational nightmare. But Blizzard have done plenty of global or near global promotions in the past. For example, the 6 and 12 month sub offers. So there are existent proofs that Blizzards know how to work with all of those legal restrictions. And of course, as a company, you always have the option to choose not to do a promotion if you can't meet the bar in terms of consumer friendliness. So why are Blizzard doing this? Looking a little closer at these promotions, and the thing that stands out for me is the amount of Xbox branding. In other words, this very much seems to be more of a Microsoft thing than a Blizzard thing. Most likely, these promotions are part of a broader arrangement that Microsoft has with their partners, and WoW is being dragged into it due to the 20th anniversary being seen by Microsoft as a bit of a marketing opportunity. The problem with all of this is that excluding people outside of the US makes a very large part of Blizzard's customer base feel like second-class citizens, and this can ultimately erode consumer trust. Not just in Microsoft, but in Blizzard and World of Warcraft. And in fact, it's likely that Blizzard and World of Warcraft will bear the brunt in terms of that loss of trust. And it's not just these promotions. Since mid of October, we've had 3 new store mount offerings added, including the $90 Brutosaur. In the time I've played World of Warcraft, the norm has been to add maybe 1 or 2 mounts a year. We've also in the last few months seen cross promotions with SteelSeries and now Razer peripherals, which are offering in-game mounts for what are fairly expensive purchases. I'm sure that many of you will have heard the term boiling a frog with respect to the cash shop and promotions in the past, but in my opinion, this feels a lot more akin to chucking it straight into superheated water. Rather than a gradual increase in extra game monetization, I'm certainly feeling like there is a very major step change underway. And this raises the question, is it now becoming too much? That's obviously a very personal question for all of us to make on our own. I personally suspect that the proportion of people who are willing to drop $150 in the in-game shop and then buy an expensive headset and another mount in the space of a few months, on top of maybe the annual sub, is going to be large enough that it will significantly move the financial needle for Warcraft. But it is still likely to be significantly lower than the proportion of people who in the past would have been willing to buy every store mount as it appeared. There are lots of reasons why we buy store mounts. For some of us, it's because we like a specific mount, but for others, it's just to complete that mount collection. Collecting and completionism is huge in World of Warcraft, especially for mounts. But once a collector has, either through choice or financial necessity, decided to skip a store mount, the end result is that for them, the store is going to become a bit like PvP is for many players. In other words, it's the part that doesn't count. And if store mounts don't count, why would you buy more store mounts in the future? This is the real danger for Microsoft and Blizzard. By failing to self-regulate and perhaps overdoing the promos, while they will no doubt make mega bucks in the short term, at the same time they're potentially doing long-term damage, not just to the brand, but even to the cash shop itself. For an example of this in action, you will probably remember, I think it was about 18 months ago, where data miners found traders tender icons for the cash shop, which was followed by an interview that hinted that they were only going to be used for major, and I think most players assumed expansion purchase bundles, only for Blizzard to go ahead and offer a bundle that had traders tender and a wrist transmog for $5. Now, I don't know about you, but that didn't feel like a major bundle to me. While at the time, we all expected that this would become the norm, it appears that after just 2 bundles with traders tender, they decided to drop the idea. Most likely that was because it had backfired on them in a way that they could not ignore. For me, personally, that event was a bit of a last straw for the cash shop. I'd never personally bought transmog from the shop. It's really just not my jam. But I had bought mounts in the past, and now I just won't. The reason being that I do not appreciate being misled by big companies that I deal with, even if, as I suspect was the case there, that was unintentional. Now, Blizzard and Microsoft must know that this is a risk that they are taking, right? They have enough smart people that someone is very likely to have pointed this out internally. So why go ahead and do it? Well, I personally think that there's a couple of factors at play here. First of all, this is World of Warcraft's 20th anniversary, and that's exactly the kind of thing that marketers want to jump on. Nostalgia is very powerful, and the message that, hey, it's been 20 years, why not come back and give it another go, is an obvious opportunity. Blizzard have been clearly struggling to reach outside the core audience of existing players, and there's no doubt that this is one opportunity for them to do just that. The other very likely reason is that this time last year was when the pre-orders for The War Within came out. Now, I don't know how many people actually pre-order, but it's very likely to be a lot more than who will ever buy a store mount, and big companies tend to compare quarterly revenue year on year. With the pre-order period for Midnight likely to be about 6 to 12 months away, World of Warcraft is very likely in a bit of a financial lull, and I do have to wonder if this is being driven by pressure from Microsoft to find a way to match or more likely beat last year's Q4 numbers. Now, just to be clear here, this is not me saying that this is a Microsoft or Activision bad, Blizzard good scenario. Blizzard was very well known for pushing the boat out with monetization even before Activision took them over. Remember when they asked us to buy TCG packs to gamble and get them out? Now, my personal hope is that in the coming new year, as we move out of the 20th anniversary period, things will slow down a bit on the promotion front. But my worry is that this is going to become the new normal for World of Warcraft in the future. Either way, I suspect that the end result of all of this is that I'm going to be even more reluctant to engage with the cash shop or Blizzard's other out-of-game monetization attempts. And while that is most definitely just a me thing, I can't help but wonder if other people will end up feeling the same way. Now, I'm going to be super interested to hear your thoughts on the in-game store and all the promotions down below. Do you want more ways to support the developers' efforts to improve the game? Or are you personally not keen to see more and more of your money going to inflate executive salaries and bonuses? Just do try to keep the conversation respectful, and keep in mind that precisely 0 of the World of Warcraft developers have any control whatsoever over these sort of things. Anyways, unless we get a surprise drop of the 1110 PTR just after I upload this video, I really wasn't kidding about it being a slow news week. Even over on the PTR, the 1107 has now become a release candidate, which has meant no fresh updates from the PTR beyond an official confirmation from Blizzard that Plunderstorm will be launching on January the 14th. I do have a video covering all of the new content in patch 11.07, which I will be releasing before it launches on the 17th. So do make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit the bell icon so that you know when that goes live. There's actually quite a bit more to it than just the Siren Isle. I also do have a suspicion that we could see the 11.10 arriving on the PTR in the next week or so. So hopefully that'll give us a bit more in-game stuff to discuss in next week's news update. I know that this video is a little bit different to the usual Saturday news format, but I do think that this is a subject that is very likely to affect all of us who play World of Warcraft, and so it's definitely worth discussing. If you'd like me to continue to include some more deeper dives into hot topics, then do hit the like icon or drop a comment down below to let me know. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.